today's project is to cut a hole, put in the fruit as they are, and see what happens in the spring. So that's the plan for today. So we're off to plant our seed orchard. We'll do it fall planting. We could have done spring, but you know what? We've got these seeds sitting here, and rather than extracting them from all this fruit, we're thinking let's just plant it like we would be doing with pumice. Bit of an experiment, but we don't have a whole lot. It won't take us very long to plant this soup. So a little bit of design on the fly, but thinking forward, what is it that we're gonna need? We're certainly gonna want a lot more plums. So we'll be putting more plums and a lot more pears, but not nearly as much. We're using Dalgo crab because it is a true variety and it will come back from seed to give Dalgo crabs, which is one of the hardiest we can grow here. The only concern is that maybe some of these fruit have been sitting in water too long. These are the fruit that we want to get the seeds out. We don't want to spread those nutrients all in one place. But this is what the setup looks like to go to plant. So we got our plum soup, we got our pear puree mush, and we got a little bit of Dalgo crab apple somewhere in here. Oh, there it is. So in the end, we're just going to use Dalgo crab because the planting design will be a lot less apple than pears and plums. It'll be mainly pears and plums because that's the two that we've got in the least quantity. The great thing about working with highly motivated people, I'm not always highly motivated anymore on some of these things. I've done them before. It's not novel. But working with other people, Alice and Sebastian, last night I was like, okay, we're done for today. We'll have a few rows. No, let's push on and let's finish. So we did. We finished all the rows. So they're all staked out, ready to go. We don't know what will work, how it will work best. So we're going to try a whole range of tools. We'll try some flat shovels. We're actually going to try some saws to cut through the bale. We have a harvest knife. Try that. Try the permaculture tools. We'll just try a bunch of things and see what works. Because if it works, it works.
It works.
Sort of,
but it can be...
To do it 1 meter long, it'll take...
Yeah.
All right, try tool 2. The shovel will actually work. I think if the shovel is nice and sharp, it should work pretty good. No.
Doesn't cut.
It doesn't cut.
But
we need to cut through the thick layer of hay. It'll go through the second layer, not the new hay, though.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like it
the
works.
Knife.
The knife seems to work better.
Yeah.
Would be nice if it was longer, but it certainly seems to cut through.
Yeah.
Try this one. So that's this kind of knife. I don't know what it's called, but it's another knife.
No, the other one was
it's a little too soft. Okay. Try this one now.
the shape is nice, but it kind of, it just pushes the...
Yeah. Okay. So it seems like the harvest knife is the tool that seems to cut through the best. Maybe it's the sharpest. I'll try sharpening the other ones and see how that works. We have 150 holes to make, so certainly if we can save a minute per hole, that's 2 hours of work saved. So when you're doing something like this, try a bunch of things, try a few ways, and some will be obvious it's not working well, and some, well, we'll see, but try a bunch of tools. And actually this is pretty sharp, so it's not because it's not sharp enough. So that's about our 1 meter hole. Then all we're trying to do is split that open so that we can pour the fruit into it. So that's a green tag, a green stake label, so that would be our pears. So let's try putting some pears in there. Some of them happen to be the end of the bale, and there's quite a thick layer, so cutting through is not always as easy. So it's cut, and there's the canyon that we're going to we basically pour the fruit in. So these have been cut open. Oh, it's already got pears. It's already done. Another one slid open. Now this, we kind of we go right to the soil. We don't want to put the fruit on the mulch. We want to put it on the soil. So this one's down to the soil. And then we kind of calculated how many trees each bucket needs to do. And so that's kind of it. Actually, a little more. So that's a lot of fruit, a lot of seeds for one hole. And then we just put a light covering, basically just so that any exposure to the soil, of the soil to the sun, won't stimulate any plants to grow or grasses to get energy. And that's it. First impressions with this technique, it's so much faster than planting trees. We're basically just opening a slit and pouring out a quantity of fruit. That's it. If it works, this is pretty crazy as a simple technique. Unbelievable simple. So we'll see how it works, but we'll just finish up. It's going fast. It's fun. An apple slit, pretty easy. We're using Dalgo crab, one of the few true varieties. It should come back pretty close to being Dalgo crab. And we could always dig up some of these in the spring or like next fall if we find that, you know what, we don't need this many, and obviously we don't need this many. We want one tree here. So we should get a little mini forest established, pack them in, make sure they have good contact with the soil, sprinkle a bit of hay on it, just enough to give a mulch. Chew! And that's it. How simple is that? Plums. So we're using our really great Mount Royal plum. It's a blue plum. Blue plum, blue tag. There we go. Put it in, mush it in a little, mulch it in a bit. Done. You see the seeds? They're still in the fruit. And so, thinking of it, when does nature plant? Nature plants in the fall when the fruit fall. Animals pick up the fruit, walk around, they pick it up, they eat it, they walk around, they poop it out. And so the seeds are lying somewhere in the fall and have all winter to get stratified, which means they get enough cold. And then first thing when the conditions are right in the spring, they germinate. So trying with the pulp, the nice thing is the fruit stays moist with the pulp as opposed to drying out as a seed would and then requiring the right conditions to get moistened and then germinate. I'm not sure, is this better than extracting the seeds and planting them either in the fall or in the spring? But you know what? If this works, this is a whole lot easier and quicker. I mean, we've been going for not even a half an hour and we've got 3 rows or half the orchard done. So this is pretty fast. My mistake. Got going, got planting, and wasn't watching the labels on the top properly. And now I think, oh, I didn't plant an apple in one of the apple spots. And I open it up and see, oh, I had planted plums. I'm the one planting plums. So I was over eager to plant some plums and I put them in the wrong hole. Now I got to dig them up or slop them up and put apples in there. It goes pretty well to pick them up. They're kind of pressed in, so they're a little thick. What's the worst thing that can happen here? We can get a plum tree germinate and we can always yank it up. You just need to know what's the difference between a plum and an apple. In you go, you little doggos. Go, go, go. That's why you're called doggos, because you're supposed to go, go, go. Doggo, go, go. And mulch them in. So fast. It's so fast. I just wanted your impressions on how this, well, how did you like this technique, this way of doing it? What would you do differently, or would you do this way?
This is our technique.
It's
good.
It's good?
It was a perfect technique.
Yeah.
Was it quick?
Yeah, super
Yeah,
quick.
quite enough.
It-
The fact that it was methodic,
Yeah.
it helped us a lot.
The fact that it
flat.
was properly laid out yesterday. So we had one row, just it was the last row didn't make sense. It was like, no, that doesn't seem to be right. And when we looked at it, no, it was all one tree off. So I started with the wrong tree, and then it was repeated the same mistake all the way. So we had to change the sticks were all there. We just had to change how they were ordered. And that was just because it was dark that we couldn't even properly check last night when we finished. But that's no big deal. So we had that mistake. I did a plum instead of an apple. But you know what?
The rest was super easy and fine.
Pretty
Fast.
Yeah, super fast.
Yep.
So what are we now? We're only 11 o'clock. So it took us about 2 hours.
Maybe 1.5.
Max.
Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
1.5 to put. We're not completely 2/3 done because we're missing what?
Pears?
Maybe one row of pears.
Yeah.
So about 7 pears we're missing. And that's just because we ran out of pears. We have more pears that we have to collect on the ground. We'll get those and that'll finish that last row. And we have 2/3 because all the nitrogen fixers we didn't put in. So we'll see. We could try just breaking up pods and putting them in and then it'll be done. That would be nice.
Yeah.
And then they'll properly winter. And that's it. Wow.
Good.
Certainly much faster than planting trees. Like, wow. Now the question is, we'll see in the next 2 years how well this starts, but we probably have 100 seeds per hole.
Yeah.
So out of 100 seeds, we're pretty sure we'll get one come up.
At least.
And so we'll see. The key will be to have a bit of, maybe open up the mulch in the spring, because some of it might have a lot of mulch. And yeah. Anyway, it's an experiment. Try some experiments yourself and see how it turns out. We're off for some honey locusts.
Yeah. Good.
Hey, please subscribe and check out our latest video. And then we just put a light covering, basically just so that any exposure to the soil, it's fun.